Hey, what's going on everybody, it's your boy Jack the Jill John here, and welcome to a video I am deciding to do after my good friend Prodigal Son 25 had decided to make his own. Well, for Trickster, today I'm making a how to master Huntress on console. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit difficult to explain, and if you play on console, this will be even better for you to learn. And probably something you already do know. But anyways, this is what a 2K hour Huntress knows. Let's go. Alright, so you go ahead, you get into your match. Let's use the Dog Saloon as an example, considering that's the match I got this game. So you would go ahead, and you instantly think to yourself, okay, where in the hell are survivors going to be? Well, on maps like these, they can really vary on where survivors can be. If there are large maps, they will spawn further from the corner sides, and sometimes even closer on the much more southern sides or eastern sides. But when you start into a game, the first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is find a survivor, get into a chase as fast as possible, and get that quick and easy down, just like that. But when you're going ahead and you're hooking survivors, you don't want to continuously, like, go ahead and hook a survivor and then go to the other side of the map. No, that's what survivors who tell you. That's what survivors that are like completely entitled to tell you to do. You see right here, I go ahead, I hit a survivor once and they had borrowed time. I come back and after 3 seconds of just being away from the hook, and there's already a survivor here trying to get the save. So here's the thing about this. When survivors act altruistic, use that against them. You guys can see I am barely sticking around this hook. I would leave, come back if there's someone there. There's a gen right here I can even proxy, go ahead and kick, get a nice and easy hit, and while they're spending all this time trying to get this one survivor off of the hook, they're just wasting time. They're not getting gens done, they're not healing, and he's slowly dying on the hook. It took them almost an entire minute to try and get this guy off the hook, but by the time he finally gets off the hook is when I get someone else down in order to just do it again. Now, when you are using her hatchet, you have to make sure you remember how her arc works. The more you hold it, the more straighter it's going to be, and the more powerful it will be. The less it will be, the more arc. Now, when you're playing Huntress, you want to be very observative. Not just with Huntress, but Huntress gets the most value out of it. Over here, you see there's a Michaela running off to my left side of my screen. But also, I have no hatchets. I keep in mind that the Michaela is nearby, but I also want to reload hatchets. Considering if I go into that chase with no hatchets, I am most likely going to get ran for about maybe a minute and a half. But when I come back to the survivor I just hooked, there's the Michaela I recently saw, and now I get an easy down with a nice 2 hatchet down. You're going to want to make sure that when survivors are hooked, and survivors like this are, as I said earlier, making altruistic plays, you have to make sure you're ready for anything. I go ahead and pick up this K. I don't expect that this, what's his name, Jonathan, I think, from Stranger Things, has a flashbang. So, I use my ears, I manage to get the hook, the Kate on the hook, and I chase after him. But even though I'm chasing him, and it looks like I could probably make it, he's taking me to a pallet, and I have no hatchet, so I have to abandon the chase. This next one, I take a Solaris. To prove something? Probably not. Well, let's go. Now, the biggest thing that people, especially on console, forget is that Huntress, a few little bit of centimeters of movement can mean so much difference between hitting someone or hitting an object. Just right here, you guys see me hit so many corners of survivors with their hitboxes, and now I get 2 injured survivors and a down. Right over here, you're gonna, as I said about being observant over here, you want to make sure you are listening, you want to make sure you are looking around, don't just keep focusing on one survivor, and now I have 1 survivor injured and another one mending. When you're playing Huntress, the basement is one of the best areas to hook survivors. The reason why is because they have such a narrow stairway that they have to go up to that you can just back away and throw a hatchet, and sometimes if you throw a hatchet and they have borrowed time, you can just throw the hatchet and instantly hit them down with the M1, and now you have more survivors pressured whether they have decisive strike or not. The best thing to do with Huntress is to work with perks that work with her power. Or, since Huntress is also a 110 killer, you have to make sure you are using perks like Barbecue Chili, which really helps have a good idea of where survivors are. Allows you to go onto them when they're unsuspecting you to know exactly where they are and get a nice and easy 2-tap or down. Just like that, everybody. Now, another great thing to know is to make sure you focus on how survivors move. The Steve I'm going against in here is clearly more experienced, but they don't exactly expect me to do some of the plays I'm about to do. So you have to watch that survivor, you have to try to make a good predicament on where they're going to be, and soon enough, you will hit your mark, just like that. But anyways, guys, that's it. That's all I have for this Huntress video. I apologize it's not longer, but this is my second time to do this, and it is around 4 in the morning. I want to get some rest. But nonetheless, after all these ideas, you can keep in mind, you'll be mastering Huntress as well. Have a good day, everybody. Peace.